So people, we can conquer the mission that is in front of us no matter how inadequate we feel. Now, God said he'd be with us. When you read the Bible, there is story after story where God just showed up and quieted a storm, split a Red Sea, fed people from heaven. Just incredible things happening in people's lives. But how many know that the main way God works is in the quiet areas where you don't see the huge explosions? You know, the promised land, the children of Israel were supposed to go into the promised land. And God, they didn't go in. And God said, you're going to wander in the wilderness for 40 years. And then the next chapter it said, and at the end of 40 years. I mean, 40 years of a life, and it's not even mentioned. How many know there was just a lot of mundane things going on in lives? And so when we say God is with us, we all like the huge areas where God just shows up and the ground just shakes. And it's harder when we don't see something happening in our lives. 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 13, there's this man called Elisha. Elisha is in a field, and the Arameans are coming to attack him. They surround him on the hills, and the army is there. And they're going to come destroy him. His servant comes up to Elijah and said, Elisha, we're surrounded by the enemy. We're going to be destroyed. Elisha looks out and said, there's more with us than against us. And I'm sure the servant said, with us? There's nobody here but you, me, and this mule. There's nobody with us. What are we supposed to do? And Elisha said, God, open this guy's eyes that he sees what I see. And the guy's eyes opened up, and the chariots of God surrounded them. Here's the interesting thing. The Bible says the city that they were in was called Dothan. Dothan, okay? So when you're in Dothan, there's the chariots of God, right? There they are. Boom. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 37. There's this young man named Joseph. His dad sends him out to go see how his brothers are doing. He runs into his brothers. They're sick of him. They beat him up. They tear off his fancy coat. They drop him in a well. And they sell him to merchants who take him to Egypt, where he becomes a slave. You know what the name of that city is where all that happened? Anybody want to take a guess? Dothan. Now, if I'm in Dothan and the chariots of God show up, I'm all excited. If I'm in Dothan and I end up in a well and get sold into slavery, I'm not quite so excited. And I think it would be very logical for us to pray, where are the chariots? Come on, God, show up in the chariots. But the Bible says very specifically, when Joseph ends up in prison, God was with him. People, God is with them whether you see the chariots or not. God is with you, whether you see the chariots or not. It's a step of faith that we need to walk in.